French President Emmanuel Macron says he will open a debate about extending French nuclear deterrence to European allies to protect the continent from Russia.
US President Donald Trump has issued a last warning to Hamas to release all remaining Israeli hostages and bodies.
The EU Commission has unveiled plans to borrow €150 billion to fund a major rearmament push.
French President Emmanuel Macron has said he will confer with European allies on the idea of using the country's nuclear deterrent to protect the continent in the face of threats from Russia. Macron, in a televised address to the nation on Wednesday, described Russia as a threat to France and Europe. France is the only nuclear power in the European Union.
Notre dissuasion nucléaire nous protège. Elle est complète, souveraine, française de bout en bout. Elle a, depuis 1964, de manière explicite, toujours joué un rôle dans la préservation de la paix et de la sécurité en Europe. Mais répondant à l'appel historique du futur chancelier allemand, j'ai décidé d'ouvrir le débat stratégique sur la protection par notre dissuasion de nos alliés du continent européen. Quoi qu'il arrive, la décision a toujours été et restera entre les mains du président de la République.
Macron's speech comes as EU leaders prepare to address the issues during the special summit in Brussels on Thursday. Late on Wednesday, Macron welcomed Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban for a meeting.
US President Donald Trump issued on Wednesday what he called a, quote, last warning to Hamas to release the Israeli hostages held in the Gaza Strip. Release all of the hostages now, not later, and immediately return all of the dead bodies of the people you murdered, or it is over for you, Trump wrote in a lengthy post on his social media platform. His post comes hours after the White House confirmed Trump had dispatched an envoy for unprecedented direct talks with Hamas.
Israel was consulted
Trump warned there would be, quote, hell to pay if the captives, which include 24 living hostages and the bodies of 35 others, were not released. The ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is currently uncertain, as an agreement on the second phase does not seem to be in sight for now.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said there have been positive developments in talks with the US and that both sides are working on a meeting in the near future. It comes as the US paused its intelligence sharing with Ukraine, a decision which Trump administration officials said was part of the broader push for Zelensky to negotiate a peace deal with Russia. They added that positive talks between Washington and Kyiv mean it may only be a short suspension.
Сьогодні наші команди України та Сполучених Штатів Америки почали працювати над зустріччю. Говорили Андрій Єрмак та Майк Вольц. Є позитивний рух. Сподіваємось на перші результати наступного тижня.
Zelensky added that he had spoken with the leaders of the Netherlands, Portugal, Slovenia and Germany ahead of Thursday's EU summit in Brussels. Many of the bloc's leaders have emphasized the need for stronger support for Ukraine amid growing uncertainty about security guarantees from the US. The Danish and Greenlandic prime ministers have responded to US President Donald Trump's latest comments on Greenland. They echoed each other in their message that Greenlanders should be the ones to decide the future of the territory.
Jeg synes, formanden for naalakkersuisut krystalklar, at Grønland er grønlændernes. Det er jo en holdning, vi bakker meget, meget stærkt op om fra den danske regerings side. Det er klart, at det er det grønlandske folk, der skal afgøre deres fremtid og deres skæbne.
Denmark's defense minister added that it is a positive development that Trump respected Greenlanders' self-determination in his speech to Congress on Tuesday. Meanwhile, the German Foreign Ministry also took a position in support of their neighbor and ally.
Und es ist doch so, dass Grenzen niemals mit Gewalt verändert werden dürfen. Das ist sehr klar. Grönland ist als autonomes Gebiet Teil Dänemarks und dabei würde ich es jetzt hier belassen. Im Übrigen entscheiden die Grönländerinnen und Grönländer selbst über ihr Schicksal. Und wenn ich mich recht entsinne, hat der amerikanische Präsident das auch in seiner Rede so gesagt.
Greenlanders will head to the polls on Tuesday. Trump's recent comments about taking over the island have ignited unprecedented interest in full independence from Denmark, which has become a key issue during campaign season.
The European Union is preparing to enter a rearmament phase. On Thursday, the European Commission will formally present a proposal for greater investment in defence at a special summit attended by the 27 heads of state and government. The Commission plans to grant 150 billion euros in loans to its EU members. The Commission suggests it will borrow the necessary amount from the markets and then lend these funds to the various countries over the long term. This arrangement will enable several member states to obtain more advantageous rates than if they borrowed on their own.
We need that because we want to increase coordination and cooperation, both in terms of procurement as well as in terms of military integration. And for that, at the end of the day, you need something at the European level to really push things ahead.
The Commission is also considering using an opt-out clause from the European budgetary rules. The Stability and Growth Pact sets a public deficit limit of 3% of gross domestic product. This exception would allow capitals to increase their spending within certain limits without triggering an excessive deficit procedure.
I think that the adjustments, the flexibility introduced for the 3% budget deficits will considerably enable member states to raise their defense spending. I think overall it will be still a mixed picture, with some doing it more quickly and more comprehensively, while others perhaps joining in a bit of a later stage.
The Commission would like to see all European Union countries investing in the same direction, namely air and missile defence, artillery systems, ammunition, drones and missiles. It is also inviting its members to buy together.
Let's also be clear, only if you order in larger amounts, in larger quantities, only then you will be able to bring down costs per unit and bring down and improve the scale economies, essentially, right? So this is what you need to focus on.
The Commission proposes to redirect European funds to undertake the investment. Finally, it wants to attract private capital through the European Investment Bank. European Union countries agreed on Wednesday to bring into force the entry-exit system, the bloc's automated registry for short-stay travellers. Delayed for years over technical problems and lack of preparedness. Interior ministers reached an agreement in Brussels for a likely start of operations in autumn. The entry-exit system's main purpose is to modernise checks at the EU's external borders and replace the stamping of passports. It will apply to non-EU citizens who come to the bloc for visits, holidays or business trips. The collection and sharing of information in real time is meant to help authorities crack down on those who overstay their short-term visas and commit identity fraud. Cyprus and Ireland will not partake in the scheme.
Brussels is launching an action plan to help the European automotive sector. According to the European Commission, the industry is at a critical turning point. The Commission wants to ensure that the batteries used by car manufacturers are made in Europe. They will make available 1.8 billion euros to strengthen the supply chain of raw materials for batteries. This will be in addition to the 3 billion euros that Brussels has already announced will be invested in batteries.
Welcome to the press conference.
Europe needs its own supply. That means producing them ourselves. And alongside finance, we are considering European content requirements for batteries and components that are sold here. The Clean Industrial Deal presented by the Commission last week, also announced a new critical raw materials centre. So from 2026, it will offer automotive players access to lower cost materials.
The European Commission also aims to decarbonize the corporate car fleet, which accounts for 60% of new car registrations. They will present a legislative proposal this year. This is in addition to the plan announced on Monday by Ursula von der Leyen, the European Commission's president, to give car makers 3 more years to adapt to the CO2 emission standards for new cars.
One of Spain's main contemporary art fairs, Madrid, opened on Wednesday with the Amazon as the central project. Organizers say this year's exhibition, in its 44th edition, reflects on new modes of creation that represents hybrid existences between human, plant, physical and metaphysical bodies. The contemporary art fair features a total of 214 galleries from 36 countries. With a mix of established and emerging talent, Madrid explores a significant Latin American art, with nearly a third of international galleries coming from the region. Wednesday's opening was attended by Spain's King Felipe and his wife Queen Letizia. The Contemporary Art Fair has been running in Spain since 1982. This year's exhibition opens to the public on Thursday and runs till Sunday the 9th of March.